what was the difference in terms of? I remember the last game you talked about having energy early in the game. It looked like you had that in the first quarter. From your perspective, were you able to maintain that over the course of the game? And if so, why or why not?
I think that's a great question, because I think what everybody was kind of feeling each other out in the beginning of the Laker game, and that led, I think, to a lot of the bad start. And today, guys were locked in from the first moment on, and I it's hard to like attribute to a one factor, but if I look at quarter scoring for Celtics, it's 25-41, 26-25, and we had some slip ups in the second half of the second quarter, and we started doing some things that we had not agreed to do, and that caused some miscommunications, or we were maybe frustrated with not getting the foul call or something like this. And the guys' response is great always, like really great, and it's just like against this level of a team, like one of the best, if not the best team in the league, it's just very hard to win if you don't put 48 minutes of very high level basketball on the defensive end. But other than that, I think we can be very satisfied with the effort, with the team play that the guys are showing. They are really playing for each other, sharing the ball on both ends. So maybe it's an energy question. Maybe it's just like when you get a little bit tired, the mistakes start to come out. But we don't have a lot of time to fix it.
Coach in the back. Two questions regarding the three-point line. One with you guys, one with them. You guys didn't shoot it particularly well. One, were you happy with the looks? Two, when you have a team on the other side that you know is going to take a ton of them, and even tonight they didn't shoot it incredibly well, but a little bit better than you guys, how does that change, I guess, the game plan, knowing that it's going to kind of skew the math and the score a certain way that you're going to have to keep up with?
Yeah, I can first answer from the Boston side. I think they're unique in their roster construction and how many shooters they're able to roll out, how many good shooters, good to great shooters they can roll out, and that makes it very difficult to game plan against them, because you basically have to make choices. Either you're opening up for rotations because there's a ton of space in the paint to guys to get to, and now you're in long rotations, or then you got to make choices leaving specific guys a little bit more space than others, and we chose the latter today and in the first game also. And in the first game it was successful. In the second game, I would say still relatively successful when you look at the overall three-point percentage, but still not good enough. And Al Horford obviously having an amazing game today hurt us a lot. But when I look at our looks, yeah, I thought generally they were very good. But the one thing that I think I could have done a better job verbalizing in the fourth quarter, I didn't think we created enough penetration, because they were staying close to their own defensive matchups. And I thought maybe if we would have given that feedback earlier to look to punch through the defense and to collapse it, we would have not only had these inside-out three-point shot, but also better opportunity to offensive rebound after first disorganizing. And that's been one of our biggest strengths this season. Today, unfortunately, only 5 offensive rebounds. So we did a good job with the turnovers, but the lack of offensive rebounds really hurt us. And I thought that's what Celtics do well. They maintain that shell and keep guys out of there, but that's something we can improve on.
Yeah, Coach, you just talked about 2 decisions, 2 specifically to ask you about. First, just the first play in the game, Bane bringing the ball up, Morant running that little Iverson Cup. Bane gets the 3 on the backside. Just your thoughts on how you're starting the game with Bane maybe with the ball and Ja working off the ball to get them both working together. And then the other decision is just Bagley before Santi off the bench. And just what did you think about those 2 guys?
Okay, so first question, it's like every, I think, good offensive basketball, you have the players' actions, they compound, you know, instead of my turn, your turn, which is easily what happens if you have players who are skilled on-ball players. One guy takes a turn, other one. We want to try to facilitate situations where one guy can create a small advantage that can then be transferred for a bigger advantage because they're late for the next action. And what you saw in the first play was one example of that. The placement of the players was for that specific interaction, and we also ran other ones where we have others. But the basic idea remains that if you want to play winning collective team basketball offensively, the actions must build on each other, and kind of there's hopefully a kind of a momentum that builds within the possession that leads to better and better quality shots, and I thought we had good examples of that today. What was the second part of the question?
Bagley coming in first, and then Santi logging more minutes, just how they operated in the front court, missing BC, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the Marvin decision was we had decided that he's in a rotation today, and when Zach got his second early foul, he was the logical choice for that, and that enabled Santi to stay with his sub pattern. So we don't really think about basketball in a way that somebody's coming off the bench first or something like this. It's more like, can we put winning 5-man units on the floor and who complements each other?
Tonight, Bain and Kennard combined for 5 3-point attempts. Just in a matchup where the opposing team tries to find that advantage from beyond the arc and both makes and attempts, how could the team improve in manufacturing cleaner looks for your best 3-point shooters?
Well, I think there's several factors there. When one door closes, another one opens. So oftentimes it's I think a little bit reductionist to just look at how many shots certain players are taking, because there's a concept called gravity, which means that those guys are opening up space for somebody else, or because the rotations are not coming off of them, somebody's having a more open shot. So great shooters have way more impact on the game than only those, like the direct numbers that they make, and that's both Des and Luke for sure. And then the second factor is you can manufacture those shots out of transition, which we are trying to do. You can do them through flow, so out of open play where guys are playing off of concepts, or you can do them out of set plays. The difficulty with the set plays is that these guys are also, they're such high-level shooters. I mean, Luke is I think all-time leader in 3-point percentage with the long 3-point line. So it's like you're going against the thinking opponent, and the thinking opponent, like the first thing they're going to have on their game plan also, like when they go through the personnel designations, is this guy can't get open looks. And the question is exactly like, how can we get him still open looks, or how can we leverage that into somebody else getting maybe something even easier? And it's absolutely part of our process.
Both games you've coached so far, you've had your rotation apparently disrupted by one of your starting bigs getting 2 fouls in the first quarter, then I think a third in the second in both games. Both finished with 4 fouls, so like they could have played more minutes. As a head coach, like how do you manage thinking about that, whether to react to fouls or not react to fouls?
Yeah, that's a super interesting question, because it's one of those basketball conventions, right? That when the foul count goes over the quarter limit, you pull the guy out, but there's no rule in any rule book saying you have to do this. I mean, the limit is 6, like you said, but I think on the flip side of that is the thought that what if we don't have the guy for the end of the game, or we might have to keep him for a longer time on the bench. But you're right, it's hurt us in both games and hasn't come back to bite us, those fouls. So obviously always like hindsight 2020, that could have gotten more minutes from Zach today and from Jaren the other night against Lakers. So those are the decisions you have to make on the fly. And right now our decision making has been this, and I'm sure we will review our process if that still holds true. But I like when both guys like playing the 5. We've been doing well, and that has been a clear issue for us, that we haven't yet found something that works as well as the minutes that Brandon Clark was giving us.
Thank you, Tuomas.
Thank you.